Hey everyone, happy Sunday. 2 days away from a big winter storm that's expected to impact our area. I know you've got a lot of questions. I know you want to know how much it's going to snow. This has definitely been a talker, and rightfully so. This is an intense system. So, we are going to do our Fox newscast here after this new show that's happening, and I forgot what it's called, Accused, I think. And I know the Cowboys and 49ers game just ended. I already see some angry faces out there. Colleen not happy. Maybe she doesn't like snow, or maybe she's not happy that we're bringing this forecast. But either way, if you like snow or don't like snow, we're getting it. And the question is exactly how much. Well, guess what? We got a special guest here tonight that's joining us live from his home, Mr. Josh Rugger himself. What's going on, Josh?
Hey there, Dan. Live from the Rugger household here.
Live from the Rugger household. Well, he's going to be rolling in tomorrow. I don't want to waste a whole bunch of people's time. We got a lot to talk about, don't we? I mean, there are so many things to cover with this system. But let's first of all take a look at what's going on with this low. So I'm going to bring this up full real quick, Josh. And you see the storm system that's organizing. First of all, we had a little bit of the precipitation that came through today. Maybe you saw some snowflakes. Remember yesterday's Facebook Live? This is the back outside of the energy diving in. You can see that upper level spin, and now that's starting to move out, so the cloud cover will be clearing out. Let's not waste any time. Get right into the precipitation. So here is the story with what we've got on this system. First of all, there's going to be above freezing temperatures. No doubt it's going to be above freezing at lunchtime, probably right around 40 degrees. The thing is, as I'll show you here with some of the computer models, is that, and really all the computer models, there's a dry air layer that's just above the surface, and what's going to happen is it's going to wet bulb. Wet bulbing is where the temperature absolutely plummets. Watch what happens as we step forward just in time a little bit as that precipitation starts to fall. Now, you see it has rain in Arkansas, but also the higher elevations, Winslow, Brentwood, Wesley, Huntsville, Aurora. These are all areas, crosses in southern Madison, St. Paul, Pettigrew, and southern Washington County that will start picking up already on some winter precipitation. Then look at that. In just a matter of short time, you've got temperatures dropping below freezing or right around freezing. However, the issue with this system that makes it where it's not 100% confidence on the totals is the temperature. The temperatures are going to be right around mid-30s. Now, it doesn't mean it can't snow above freezing, because it will, because the upper air above our heads is colder than freeze. It's colder than 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius. But now, as the precipitation really starts to fall, depending on the track of this system, where we get this banding, there's going to be some heavy snow that falls in parts of the higher elevations, as well as southern Washington County. The River Valley will see snow as well. This will all happen during the evening, and then the precipitation really cranks up. Right around 8, 9 o'clock, I think we could see some thunder snow. That's when the instability starts to race in. Josh, have you been seeing that as well?
Yes,
we can still hear you.
Yes, the dam has really been picking up on just a little bit of instability.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, which tells me that we could see some lightning and some thunder for sure.
There's definitely lightning to the south in Texarkana, no doubt about that. And that instability can creep its way into northwest Arkansas. Now, you tell me, before people say, what about my town? Will we get snow? Every single place in the area will see snow. There's no doubt about that. The snowflakes will be big. The snow will be wet. It'll be great snowmaking snow. Now, what is an issue is the roads. How will the roads be? Will the roads get slick and hazardous? That remains to be seen at first, because temperatures will be above freezing. But eventually, the heavier that snow gets, I don't care if you're above freezing, 34, 35, the road is going to cool, and it will start sticking. And then once it starts sticking and covers up the roads, then it's a chain reaction. Then every bit of snow that falls will accumulate. And so you'll see that your car hoods, your car windshields, your grassy areas, elevated surfaces, decks, fences, those areas will see more snow than the roads because the roads will melt initially. But then the temperatures are going to get around freezing Wednesday morning, and slushy roads with cold temperatures and a strong northerly wind will cause bridges and overpasses to get a little slick. And then notice by 10 o'clock in the morning, we still have a little bit of pieces of energy, which I'm going to highlight, that will bring that potential for snow. So how much snow? Well, I'll show you my accumulation map. But first of all, we'll take a look at what the models show. And you can see that area picking up across northwest Arkansas. It's a good swath right there. This is just a computer model, but 8.5 might be a little much in Fayetteville, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. It definitely isn't. Josh, what do
Yeah,
you
it's
think
doing
of
well
those
with the
totals?
elevation as well.
Yeah, what do you think of those totals?
I think those are a little bit overdone, especially in the Fayetteville area, because again, we're not going to see that dynamic cooling really take shape until the late afternoon, early evening. And the model is showing, at least the graph model in this case, is showing snow falling between like noon, 3 o'clock in the Fayetteville area, but not all of that is sticking. And I think it's picking up on that.
Yeah. Now, remember, every model yesterday showed accumulation. That didn't happen today. We saw winter weather. There was a little bit in elevated surfaces, but this is overdone because it's not accumulating a half inch at 2 o'clock. There's just no way.
Nope.
Now it will be in Winslow. Winslow's elevation 1,800, 2,000, over 2,000 feet. That little bit of elevation as you're driving on I-49, that'll make a huge difference. And in fact, those that are traveling during the afternoon will experience pockets of snow, and then it'll turn to rain, and then it'll turn to snow again as you drive up and down that elevation. And there you can see the snow. It's already showing 2 inches by 6 o'clock. I think that's a little overdone. But I think by 6 o'clock, the snow will be coming down pretty heavy. So I made this graphic tonight, and it's basically a timeline of everything. And so we're going to keep this up for a while so people can see what they can expect and when. And in the meantime, Josh, as you describe this, I'm going to take a look at what we've got here with some of the comments. Snow ice cream. Who's up for some snow ice cream? That reminds me, I got to get some half and half. I've got the vanilla, so I'll be ready to make some snow ice cream for sure. Chad says, bring it on. I'll take snow over any severe weather day. I don't know about that, but I like severe weather too. But the models are off with the temps here in Oklahoma. HRRR says it's 40s, but it's 28 right now. I know, and it also said it would be 40, and it was in the mid to upper 30s. Hey, look at that. Laura is saying slight dusting above Kingston tonight. Well, there you have it. So what do you think of that, Josh?
That's interesting. That's a sign right there that the higher elevations always get a little bit more. That's always the case every single time.
There it is, a little bit showing up.
Yeah, and it was sticking around the same areas too, pretty much all afternoon. So that's no surprise.
Here's a question. Will the rain or any non-precip chill the ground and make the snow stick better? I actually already answered that, Kat. But yeah, absolutely. This is what Josh says. Convective snowband could really make things interesting somewhere Tuesday evening into Wednesday. The flakes are going to be big too. They are. I mean, here's the deal. We'll take a look at this, but the dendritic growth zone where snow starts to develop, we're looking at that, Josh, basically being – I'll bring this back up so people can see it. It's obviously a little small right now. But let's just say this. You're going to be able to see that dendritic growth zone around 500 millibars, according to some of the latest models. So we're talking about 12,000 feet up in the air. You've got snow that's collecting, making those big dendrites, which are the six-sided snowflakes, the real big ones. And as it's falling in a wet atmosphere and saturated. So those will stick together. They'll coalesce. Some of those flakes will partially melt. And you're going to get snowflakes that will get your screen soaked by just a couple of seconds as the snow falls on your phone.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier today too, you and I privately, and it was like it's like Mother Nature making a snowball above our heads and then throwing it down at us, except just nonstop.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll continue to talk more about a good question. What about the LSU game? Will that be impacted? Well, the game's at 6 o'clock, so
Yeah.
that's better news. The problem is the later the game gets, the more it's going to be snowing, and the snow coming down heavier will lead to pretty rapidly deteriorating conditions.
Yeah, you better hope it doesn't go to 4 overtimes. Let's just say that.
For overtime, that would not be good. Hopefully, we beat them in regular time. So,
Yes.
all right. So there's a look at the timing. Let me kind of break this down for you here as we look at it. And so, first of all, if you'll notice here, and you can see it on the screen, there's going to be a very small transition from rain to snow in the higher elevations because the temperatures are colder, but it's still going to possibly happen around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Notice the onset of the precipitation is a little bit later. As we work away into Benton County, there's going to be a rain-snow mixture. It starts a little after noon. It could start earlier because the models could be underdone on how strong this system is. Some snow, and that will be heavy, 2 to 4. I'll show you my accumulation map in just a bit. Light snow, flurries. This is the key, and I don't think a lot of others have this, but there's going to be more energy that swings in, and I'll prove this to you with the vorticity map. That's going to lead to some more light snow and flurries, which, by the way, happened today, and the models 2 days ago didn't really have that. We talked about it last night.
Yeah, and the models too had picked up on that vorticity a few days ago, like you mentioned, Dan, but didn't really show the precipitation actually falling until now. So, we were talking about that a few days ago, how we were still going to have snow as we moved up today, Wednesday. Now, it's not going to be nearly as heavy as what we're going to see Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, but it will accumulate pretty easily.
The sweet spot for all this is going to be probably 7 o'clock in the evening, I think, until about 3 o'clock in the morning. That's going to be when we see the heaviest snow.
Yeah,
River Valley is going to see less because notice how long the period is from a cold rain to a rain-snow mixture, and that's just because the temperatures will be a little warmer. And the reason for that is you have strong and warm air advection with this system coming in, the way that it's coming in. Speaking of that, let's take a look at that here. So this is a look at the vorticity, and we'll step through this. There's the big system that's organizing in the desert Southwest, the Four Corners region right here. This is just a massive system. And then you see it organizing and digging still. Now, the thing is that this ejects really early, which is why the European is a little less on the snow totals, which I'll show you here in just a bit. But it's showing this system ejecting by Tuesday evening, and then by Wednesday morning, it just races off to the east. But watch, there's going to be little pieces of energy on the backside of this system. There's one, and that pretty much moves through by Wednesday night, and maybe even some on Thursday that'll keep the cloud cover around a little bit longer. Case in point, that would keep the temperatures a little colder, right?
Yeah, 100%. And you remember earlier in the week too, we were talking about the system that moved through today potentially messing with moisture return. That's not the case. This system's going to have plenty to work with and then some.
Yeah, and you can see this right here. Look at Tuesday afternoon. Now the European is a little less on the amounts. I think this is a little underdone as when it moves in. But watch
it's a little slow.
It shows a lot of the pink, which is a mix, and it shows snow in the higher elevations, and then it continues to show snow, but it has rain in the river valley, and that rain is sticking around quite some time, all the way through about noon on Wednesday. Then that system starts to move out, and then you kind of see little pieces of energy, but by then the moisture will be gone. So let's look at the European for snow totals. Here's what it looks like. Again, it's got the least out of everything, but it actually shows a little more than it did before. So
that's a little bit more. That's quite a bit more, actually.
It is. Let's zoom in a little bit more, and we'll show you at. Now that's from what happened today. So there's Tuesday. By 10 o'clock, it only has an inch. I think this is more realistic.
That's very realistic.
But look at that, what happens overnight. It's coming down, and Jasper's showing over 5 inches. Harrison over 5 inches. I think that's a little underdone because of the terrain, but you got to love the terrain effects. Here's the Ouachitas. Here's Mount Magazine. It's really incredible how the models can pick up on that. There's Kavanaugh Hill, you got the Washitas and the higher elevations, and then you've got higher elevations that are in, of course, the Boston Mountains, you know, Mount Judy, Mount Sherman. Those are all areas that are going to pick up probably 8 inches or maybe even more. And obviously, the storm system's not going to impact anymore. Let's see what we got. Ponca showing 6.3, Harrison 5. The sweet spot is no doubt Laura Walden. Laura Walden, right here. She's saying we had a mix all day of sleet, rain, and snow. Laura, you're about to get clobbered by this system, so be excited with that. We'd love to see your photos.
Yeah, and that school, Jasper, that I sent in that video earlier today to you, Dan. They're going to get their wish, to say the least.
Yeah, Elizabeth's going to be, I don't know, 2 to 3 inches seems undershooting for far northern Benton County. I would agree with that, but it is all about the track. And that track does appear to be taking a little bit of a southern route. And so with that being said, let's take a look at the snow totals that we made. And I tweaked this a little bit, Josh, from what you had it earlier. I don't think Tulsa gets as much with the track of the low. I just don't. I think it's going to kind of extend from southwest to northeast. So this is what I have for the totals. We're talking 5 to 8 plus. Really, I could go 5 to 10. I probably should go 5 to 10. Then you've got 2 to 4 over northwest Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma, 1 to 2 in the River Valley. Notice there isn't a single area that doesn't pick up snow. Little Rock, I don't think sees as much. Mountain Home is going to get some good snow. So if you say, I don't know, 2 to 3 seems a little undershooting it. I have it a little more. And so we'll zoom in on this to show you. So there you got up to 4 inches in the I-49 corridor, up to 5 in parts of Washington County. I mean, let's be honest, man. Snow totals, it's like saying exactly how much it's going to rain over your house, which we don't do when we're forecasting rain.
Yeah.
We say the amounts, we could say the general range, but we don't get it to the city or to the location. It's impossible. But there you get to see essentially the snow totals. We work our way south up to 3 inches in the River Valley. I still think the River Valley sees snow, but it will be a lot less just because the temperatures will be above freezing. There will be that easterly drainage wind, though, as the low moves in, which can sometimes tend to cool it off a little bit, but that warm air advection will overcome that. And then you got up to 4 inches in higher elevations. Honestly, Mount Magazine could probably get 6, but it's kind of tough to put those bullseyes on there. So there's our snow total. What do you think, Josh?
I think that's right on the money, Dan. I think that's right what I was thinking, actually, as we move throughout the day with the latest data. I will say this, though. I don't know if you've seen the HRRR, but it's got a really far southerly track. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Let's check it out.
It's definitely an outlier. Let's just say that.
Well, let's just say this. I haven't seen the new extended HRRR because I was in the middle of doing a show.
Yeah.
So let's check it out because this is the very latest one.
It is definitely an outlier, and the HRRR tends to be a little bit nuts, especially in the extended range like this. But it's worth looking at.
So there's the low. We zoom in. Obviously, nothing happens Monday. Blah, blah, blah. Everything's quiet. High clouds. Clouds will thicken up Monday night. There's shows precipitation coming in. Wow, that's really early, I think. Maybe not, though. I don't know. Now, remember, this is only going to go out to like Tuesday afternoon. That's it. That's all it goes for this. It might go a little later on some other models, but yeah, that's showing a lot of rain in southwest in northwestern sections of our weather coverage area.
Yeah, which is just, I think that's very unrealistic. And you see how far south it's got that mix too already at 8 o'clock in southwest Arkansas. I don't know about that.
Well, 8 o'clock in the evening, though.
Yeah, I don't know about all that though.
Man, that's a lot of precip, though. As people have mentioned, there's a chance that this could bring let's call convective banding, which throws all your totals out the window. it also throws the accumulation out the window. So I'm
And the
ready
precipitation shield is going to be a lot larger than what the models show. Typically, the models are going to underdo how large that precipitation shield is. We also are not going to have the dry slot. I think that's going to be way far southeast of our area. So that's another thing that we've got going for us.
You'd be surprised how that can come in. But yeah, I agree. Someone asked if you're in a lawn chair.
I am. Yeah. So this is my gaming chair. So what I can do is I can just like lay back in it like this and just game like that.
So Fall Guys, huh? The Fall Guys. The Fall
Guys chair.
Yeah,
that's the Fall Guys chair. Yeah.
I was trying to think of a clever word for chair and couldn't come up with one. All right. Here's the models. All right. So the graph is showing about 5 in Rogers. Harrison, I think all the models are predicting this heavy burst of snow. European is a little underdone, but I think it's got a general trend. I think it's too warm. GFS, this is all a 10-to-1 ratio. So, take that with a grain of salt. The NAM actually went less on the latest one. 18Z went nuts, but the NAM went a little less for 0Z. And so there's all those models.
And we'll see these models get a little bit more realistic as we get close to the event, especially the NAM, which tends to struggle, in the very long range as long as it can go. So
here's a graphic that I made. Exactly, it is a little harder in the long range. 3 to 8 inches. I think the amounts, I have fairly high confidence, not very high. And you might notice the colors are reversed. Well, this obviously when you have a very high amount of confidence, then you're not as worried about the forecast verifying.
It's a good thing.
So you get the green light. It's not very high as in colors are worse, so it's actually reversed on this.
Yes.
Precip type. Because the temperatures will be greater than 32, a lot of the time, a rain to wet snow, I'm a little bit less confident on the precip type because the low-level jet could really crank up the low-level temperatures, which could prevent it from turning to snow. It could be a cold rain, and you're like, this was supposed to sleet and it's rain, or this was supposed to snow and it's sleet. That happens all the time. Pretty high on the confidence, but a little bit questionable on exactly how early it moves in. So that's why I'm not very high. And the system track is still uncertain at this point, but it's moderate confidence. I don't know. What do you think, Josh? Does that line up with what you're saying?
I 100% agree with you on that system track because really that can get a little nuts the day of the event, right? That can be uncertain until the day of the event because that thing could jog a little bit further to the north and we get a lot less. It could jog a little bit further to the south and we get a lot more. But that's always going to be up in the air until the system actually swings through the area. So I don't even think the system track's going to be very high until the event's happening.
Until Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at that point, we got hindsight.
Until Wednesday, it'll be over. So
yeah.
All right. So if you want a snow scale on this, I made this graphic right here. So what are we at here? I think it's going to be great sledding because the grass will accumulate. It'll be a wet snow, so it'll be great for packing jumps. It'll stick around. It won't melt immediately. I know some people are saying the models are going to get up to 40 plus degrees on Wednesday.
Nope.
With the cloud cover, with a northwest wind, with the snowpack. I don't think so. I would be surprised. And on top of that, you're not getting the warm air advection. You're not getting the southerly wind. You're getting the northerly wind. So There's your snow scale. And finally, one more graphic here. This is what you need to know. I love this graphic. It's called the 4 Ws. This will tell you everything you need to know. And you already saw it posted on social media unless you didn't see it earlier. Snow accumulation, it's definite. We're getting it. There's no question. It's happening. We will see snow. Areas of snow that would be heavy are likely. There's going to be slushy roads and tough travel. And travel, I don't know about impossible, but higher elevations could get real rough for travel in the eastern sections of northwest Arkansas. When does this arrive? Well, it's going to start early PM, and it's going to be a wintry precipitation. Then it's going to turn to snow Tuesday evening. The snow is going to end by Wednesday morning. the accumulating heavy snow. It'll probably still flurry and lightly snow as the sky's spitting out some snow throughout the day. And maybe that might amount to a little additional half inch to inch accumulation, but not anything more than that, but still a little bit more. Where will it hit? Snowfall mainly 3 to 8 inches in northwest Arkansas. There's going to be spots that pick up over 8. River Valley 1 to 4. I know that's a wide range, but remember the River Valley does include the higher elevations. There will be banding with thundersnow possible. And then finally, why will all this occur? It is such an intense, potent low pressure system. That low track, as we mentioned, will be critical because it's where the 700 millibar low tracks, and just northwest of that, where you get the heaviest snow, and temps slightly above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That's another thing that will kind of throw everything off. So there you go. That kind of sums up everything. Now we can get to some questions here, Josh. And so I'll bring you up in your Fall Guys chair. And new to the area, does wet, heavy snow lead to power outages around here? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good one.
It typically
we have a graphic for that.
We do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we do.
It's a pretty awesome graphic too.
Yeah. It might take a little while to load up. So in that case, Josh, I'm going to bring you up a little bigger here so you can kind of, well, maybe. Wait. Let me type in wait here and see what we got.
Bringing my my lawn chair into focus.
Yeah.
You were asking for a working chair. It's a chariot.
I think this will do it right here. Aha! Jackpot, Sean. If you're still on here, this is what we got. I love this graphic. Snow weigh, the weight of snow. So first of all, a fluffy snow, it's only about 4.1 pounds per square foot. Normal snow is about 6.2. That's the 10-to-1 ratio. We're going to be around 5 to 7-to-1 just because of how wet it is. Now, the temperatures are colder aloft, so it'll probably be closer to a 7-to-1. Regardless, 12.5 pounds per square foot. So if you have a foot of snow, you got about 6,000 pounds on your roof. If you have about a foot of snow of the 10-to-1 ratio, you're getting about, let me bring this up full too so you can see it, 6.2 pounds per square foot. You got about close to 9,500 pounds. And wet snow, look at that, 3 trucks, 3 silver tanks.
Trucks.
Yeah. 5-to-1 ratio, that's going to be that you have 12.5. So most roofs can withstand about 20 pounds per square foot. Isn't that kind of crazy?
That's pretty incredible. I mean, even a foot of snow, you're not having problems now. If you get to 2 feet of snow, that's when the roofs have some issues.
Yeah, you start getting a little bit worse, and so that's going to collapse those rooftops. So, anyways, kind of a cool graphic on the snow weigh and exactly how much, the different weight of the heavier snow and the lighter snow. I do want to do this, Josh. I'm going to remove myself real quick. You keep talking. I'm going to bring up the soundings because I think we want to geek out about this and take a look at on BuffKit some of the sounding data.
Yes, big time geek out sesh here.
All right,
because they are very interesting. I'm not able to pull up comments, but I can answer some here. Somebody said we had a big snow in March that collapsed roofs in 1987, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm familiar with that one.
I can believe that. There was a heavy wet snow that happened on March 21st of 2009 or 2010.
Yeah.
2010, excuse me.
2009 was that big old ice storm.
Oh, yeah, January 26th to the 28th. Big time. All right, so here's the sounding. I'm going to remove my well, actually, you know what? I'm going to come over here. Camera's going to follow me, and we're going to take a look at some soundings. First of all, the HRRR. And this is actually, it looks like I struck it. Nope, I did not. I did not get the 0Z HRRR. All right. Well, anyways, we'll look at the NAM. So here's what we've got. If this is called a skew T, and a skew T will let you know essentially what the temperature and the dew point does with height. This blue line that you see on the screen right here, see how it's skewed from bottom left to upper right? That's the temperature line. So anything that's to the right of that, isotherm, is above freezing. Anything that is left of that is below freezing. Whenever the red and the green is really close together, you have what's called saturation. So clouds, precipitation, and look at that, even a little bit of instability showing up already. So let's take a look at what we've got here. So we're going to step forward in time, and there's the snow that happened today, and that's gone. Notice how it dries out. See how the temperature and the dew point dries out? That's the system that comes, that's the ridge of high pressure, sinking air causes that to dry out. Now, as we move into our Tuesday morning, you start to see those high clouds beginning to approach, but it's still really dry. This really dry air in the low levels is key because it's what we call wet bulb. Watch what happens when this precipitation starts saturating aloft right here. So you have the green and the red lines coming together. That means saturation is occurring. And now you're starting to get precipitation. As it's falling, it's either sublimating or evaporating, depending on what phase it's in. If it's snow, it's sublimating. If it's rain, it's evaporating. And watch what happens with this dew point. And watch how the temperature drops dramatically. This, by the way, is noon. So we are not seeing precipitation at the ground yet, even though the models were showing that and the HRRR was. Look at how dry it is. But watch what happens. Quickly starts saturating. Still no precipitation. And this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then as we hit 3 o'clock, boom, snow. Now the problem is that you see how close these red and green lines are to the 0-degree isotherm. Typically the models, because you have southeasterly flow and including strong southerly flow, this could be a little warmer. And if it is, that's going to be rain. So it's a rain-snow mixture. So it's not quite snow yet, but watch what happens over time. By the way, this is some really moderate to heavy snow. And then this is, as Josh Rugger would say, Giga Chad Gorilla Flakes snow.
Ape mode.
Pounded in his chest. Ape mode. Gorilla Flakes. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you can see, first of all, this is saturated. This, by the way, is the dendritic growth zone. This is where your snowflakes form, about minus 12 to minus 17 degrees Celsius, excuse me. That's where your dendritic growth zone develops. And then what happens is that falls, it collides and coalesces with other snowflakes. And as they come down here, they're going to partially melt. This kind of worries me right here. You see how close that is?
That's close to a mix. That's close to a mix.
A lot of those snowflakes, and then they continue. But over time, watch what happens. That gets farther and farther away from that freezing line, and therefore it becomes all snow. And then look, this is really snowing like crazy. This is where it really starts accumulating. It's below freezing. It's dendritic growth zone still cranked up, still totally saturated. And then here comes that dry air. Watch the temperature and the dew point spread apart. So this is what meteorologists look at. These are soundings. And this is called BuffKit. It's a really great program to help you look at soundings. Model soundings on the internet are good, but you can't loop like this. You can't slide back and forth and look at this exactly the same way. So let's look at a different model. Let's look at the NAM-NEST. This is a little bit of a higher resolution model. Let's see if it picks up anything different. Very dry, wet bulbing. Which, by the way, watch this. I could put the temperature. See this blue line on the screen? This is called the wet bulb. Wet bulb is where the temperature drops and the dew point climbs when air hits saturation. And so you can see how that's below freezing and how it matches that. So wet bulbing is a key component to winter weather forecasting. And that has snow not going until 5, 6 o'clock. So don't be surprised if you're waiting Tuesday afternoon and it's not snowing yet because of the dry air that's in the upper levels and and the mid levels. And you might be seeing that on radar, folks. You'll be seeing that snow on radar, but it won't be hitting the ground yet. And then all of a sudden, it's just going to be like a light switch flipping on. the snow is going to be coming down. Let's look at the GFS. So this is the 18Z GFS. Notice how the lines don't look as detailed. And the reason for that is it's a lower resolution model. There's that wet bulb. Let's go back in time here. So look at how dry that is. My goodness.
That's giga dry.
45, minus 45 degrees Celsius.
Holy cow.
Which, by the way, I'll let you know, right about in this area, minus 40 degrees Celsius, that's exactly the same temperature in Fahrenheit. So you can impress your friends. When does the Celsius and Fahrenheit temperature scale match? Minus 40. All right, so we move along. There's the air saturating. There's the precipitation falling. Now it shows rain. At 10 o'clock in the morning, it shows some snow. But then the snow flakes really start to come down. So it has it a little earlier. I can't believe that's not 4 dots. That's about as saturated as you can get. And that is colder, too.
That's like a straight line. There's a green and red.
That is colder.
Yeah,
So,
and the GFS has that colder air loft coming in a little bit quicker than the other models, which is probably why it's trying to pump out these crazy snowfall totals.
Let me show you something, Josh, you haven't seen yet.
Ooh.
Check this out. This is the winter weather impacts from the Weather Prediction Center. And let's just say the plot is thickening. Stand by. You don't get county boundaries on there. You will, though, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Oh, boy. That's a lot more than what it was showing earlier.
A lot more when it's showing earlier. Moderate impacts across the higher elevations. I wouldn't doubt if major impacts start showing up tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing about this map, too, it does tend to change quite a bit. However, it's consistently been showing minor to moderate impacts across the entire area over pretty much all day today. So the consistency is remarkable.
It really kind of is. And I could show that with a model trend, by the way, too. We'll take a look at that here in just a second.
Yeah, we looked at that yesterday, Dan, and I'll tell you what. I know this model gets a lot of flack. The Canadian model from run to run has just been so consistent with the track of this system. Like, it's barely budged. It's amazing. Something you rarely see.
Well, let's check it out. First of all, though, I want to look at the sounding for the European. There's very few sites that will allow the sounding for the European. However, we're going to take a look at that here. And this is going to be from Pivotal Weather. You got to have a membership. But let's take a look at this sounding here real quick. All right, so European. I want to step back in time because this is a little bit too early. And so we're going to go to Fayetteville, and we're going to look at this sounding. Now, unfortunately, there's only one way to step through this, and that's you'll see flashing and stuff like that. But here's the saturation. Now, look, it has temperatures in the lower 40s. I could buy that. I could buy that by tomorrow, by Tuesday afternoon. But watch what happens when that wet bulb takes place. 40. Still dry, though. 34. Now, at this point, it's saying rain. But here's the problem with this. This is all below freezing, which is exactly how it can snow, even though it's above freezing at the surface. So you have above freezing at the surface, but you have below freezing everywhere else. And so that can allow those snowflakes to hit the ground. If we move along in time, that's snow. And there it is. Best guess precipitation snow showing up. Photograph isn't important, so I don't care if I cover that up. I actually don't.
Yeah, is the critical angle 90 on this, Dan? I mean,
for a tornado?
Yeah.
Snow-nado? Yeah. So anyways, that's what we've got right there. And then it continues to precipitate all the way through. Look at that. That's still snow, and that's noon on Wednesday. So that's still showing snow. That's still showing. Now
Wow.
it says rain. It says rain there because it bumps up to 37, but I don't.
But
know
that's not happening.
I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah.
So
Now it's starting to dry out there.
let's do some model trends real quick. I know people are asking questions like crazy, so if you want to comment while I'm doing this, because I can't see them, but I do want to look at the Canadian here. Let's look at the Canadian and let's look at a model trend.
Yeah, and just a reminder too, the GFS just updated as well. The 00Z.
Okay.
And we can also look at the FV3.
So this only goes back a little bit. Unfortunately, they don't have as many runs as I wanted. Here's the European, though. Here's the European model trend loop. By the way, this is for Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. So this is what it looked like several models ago. And I'll just kind of step through this. Kind of sped it up there briefly, and then now it's pretty much got the same key. I mean, do you see why we're going to get precipitation? There's just no doubt about that at all. Look at that. That's not bad, is it?
That's pretty good. That's pretty remarkable.
Let's look at the upper area. 500 millibar vorticity. This is the track below. So a lot farther north there. A lot slower to the southwest. Now it's latching on. And, that's a lot slower.
Yeah,
that means more snow for us.
Absolutely.
Look at how fast it was here. And then it slowed it down.
Then it slowed it back down again.
So it's absolutely digging.
And that's why when we look at the deterministic models, we're looking for these trends. Because, you'll sometimes have these outliers that, try to screw everything up. But most of the time, once we get close to the event, the models are going to have a pretty good idea of what the track's going to be. As you can see there. I mean, again, there was some outliers early on, and then now it's got a pretty consistent track.
So the GFS was really too fast. Look at this. And then,
as always,
it started to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got this. Now we're looking at the 500 millibar vorticity. I want to look at the 700 because just northwest of the 700 millibar low is where you get most of your snowfall. And that is just classic.
Whew.
That's going to come through. There's the 700 millibar low. It's just north. It kind of jumps up there a little bit, it looks like. And that might be more in southwest Missouri.
But that's a little bit earlier on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was the model trend. Yeah, let's go back down here. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah.
Giga snow.
That's it. That's about as sweet spot textbook as you can get, man. What else do you want to look at here?
We can look at the newest 00Z GFS, and we can also look at, I know this model's not great, but the FV3.
Let's look at the mixed layer cape here. See if it's got it.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't go out far enough, the ARW.
By the way, we have a special guest that just joined me in the room right now.
Oh yeah?
I'm gonna flip my camera around here. Hold on. Harper, come here. Harper, come here.
All right.
Hold on.
In that case, I'm gonna remove.
There she is. Can you sit? Good. Give me your paw. Oh no, you can't. You're just saying hi. She's pumped up for the snow. She's got all the fur. She's ready to roll.
She is adorable. Man.
Thank you.
That was one cute dog.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's take a look at the snow totals again, just for those that are joining on. Probably just tell us how much it's going to snow. So here's what we got. It's going to be generally a range 2 to 8. So zooming in northwest Arkansas, the higher elevation is going to get it 5 to 10 plus, up to 3, up to 4. I don't see any reason to change this. This could be underdone too. And there is no worry about ice accumulation with this. For 2
none at all.
for two reasons. Number one, the temperatures are above freezing most of the time. And number two, there isn't that warm layer of air that's coming in from the southwest that really warms things up way above freezing. We also don't have the high that's coming down, the surface high with the shallow cold air mass. So let's zip through some comments here, and we're going to do this for the next 5 minutes, and then I'll try to answer as many as we can. So this was, golly, that's about a half hour ago. They probably I'm out.
Peace.
Highly doubts roads freeze, but they could be very slushy. I think bridges and overpasses are going to freeze by Wednesday morning.
Yeah, it'll get dicey. Wednesday morning will be the worst time to be out on the roads.
Yep. Back roads will be rough. Main roads may be okay in some places, especially if they treat them. Treating them will really work well. Was pretty strong gung-ho on this system as they came into range. I agree. Absolutely. Lincoln had light snow most of the day. I'm glad we had it in there. Hawksbill, Hawksbill Craig's going to get dumped.
Yeah.
Does the River Valley possibly overachieve? That is always a possibility. And so is your model graphics Kuchera? Kuchera looks more realistic. Yeah, I don't think it's the Kuchera. I don't really know what those graphics. I think it's the 10-1. Don't you?
Yeah, that's definitely 10-1 because I tested that yesterday where I looked at the models on Weatherbell and I looked down on the graphics and it's 10-1. They lined up with each other, unfortunately. Yep.
Well, here's the deal, Matthew. I'll be honest, 2-4 is probably on the low end, but I've got to be conservative, man. Got to be conservative because how often does it not come to fruition? How many things can go wrong? Join late. How much snow? How unrealistic is the GFS tonight? It might not actually be okay. I'm actually surprised the system hasn't pump faked.
Yeah, same here.
In their driveway. We getting ready to go on?
I think so. We were set to go on at like 10:05.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, I've got to run. That about covers it. Josh and I will be in the weather lab, and we're going to give you all the latest information coming up tomorrow. I've got your newscast on KNWA at 10. You've already seen basically everything. So good luck. I think schools will cancel on Wednesday. I don't think the schools will cancel at all Tuesday because there's nothing happening in the morning. So Nikita likes your dog, by the way. All right, guys, I got to run. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll have more information as it gets closer. It's an exciting system. Get those sleds at Nelson Hardware in Cave Springs. I got a good selection there.
The only way to go.
We'll see you. Bye.